Welcome back to Glamour Unfiltered, hosted by me, Josh Smith, and today we are joined by the four queens of pop music. It's Little Mix! Woo! Girls, how are we doing?
We are as good as can be. We're very happy to be back together. This has been the longest we've been apart.
How's that been for you, being apart for that long? What have you missed the most about each other?
Do you know what? Just laughing every day and like just gossiping and talking about all the silly things that we talk about. I think we all miss performing, seeing our fans, and just like being together all the time.
And I think as well, you guys are always using your platform for the greater good, constantly, all the time. Team up with Simple again for this amazing campaign, surrounded by Ditch the Label with that amazing charity as well. Do you think that, given the context we're in right now, we need kindness more than ever before?
I just think, giving a compliment to someone, you never know what someone is going through, and I think to be kind and give someone a compliment can just completely change their day and their mindset.
Can you imagine how amazing this world would be if everyone was just nice? Everyone was kind to each other.
Yeah.
It would be a different world.
Kindness also starts within, doesn't it? About being kind to yourself and kind to others. Is there a time that you wish you were kinder to yourself?
Quite recently, unfortunately, I haven't been very kind to myself. And I think it's because I've been stuck indoors for a few months. I've ate I've drank quite a few bottles of wine, thank you, Modest.
Yes.
Really sort of not let myself go, but I think there was a period where, obviously we all found out we had to be in lockdown. It was like, oh, sweet, time off. Yeah, got very comfortable, very much a couch potato.
Yeah.
All those productive things that I said I was going to do, I clearly didn't do. So I punished myself for a while about that. So I had to learn to, instead of being really angry at myself, disappointed in myself, and not being very kind to myself about the way I looked and felt, I had to learn to be like, do you know what? Give yourself a break. You've had a bit of time off. Everyone's going through it right now mentally. Yeah. Everyone's finding different ways of coping with this.
I think, do you know what? I'm going to be honest and say the times I actually pick myself apart and feel miserable is when I get packed in a bikini or packed in a way that, one, I'm not aware that I'm being packed, and two, it makes me feel dirty. Do you get that? People will be like, oh, you look great. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Do I look like that? And then I'll cry.
Yeah.
I'll actually cry and I'll be like, I'm hideous, I'm this. And it really gets to me. And I have to remind myself that, and then I have to learn to just be like, let it go.
Yeah.
It's a few bad pictures. Who cares?
Yeah.
But it takes a lot to get to that.
Yeah,
it's really horrible. Yeah.
I think I went through a period of just not thinking I was good enough. And I wish I wasn't so hard on myself. Picked myself apart for my ability, and I wish I just believed in it more, because it's always been there. But from losing confidence, I just blamed it on just thinking, oh, you need to improve on that, you need to do this, you need to do more of this. When really, I was fine the way I was. So I wish I kind of just told myself that and didn't let it fester.
I could be kinder to myself every day. I myself most days. If I'm feeling good in myself, then I'll praise myself. But like Jade, if I'm feeling in myself, then I'll just really beat myself up about it, and I'll literally pick myself apart. And then sometimes I have to check myself and I have to be like, it's life. Sometimes you're gonna and sometimes you're gonna eat crap food and you're gonna put on weight, and that's just life. And sometimes you're gonna lose it and you're gonna stop bullying yourself, because you would never do that to someone else. I genuinely believe that we find it so easy to be so nasty to ourselves, but yet we never do that to someone else. The things that we say to ourselves, we would never project that on anyone else. And I think it's so easy to do that, and so easy to like, oh God, I look disgusting, and just say these hurtful things. And we don't actually realise what we're doing to ourselves mentally. When really, if we were to train our brain into like saying positive things to us, I genuinely think that like, our mental health would be so much better.
Yeah.
But it's easier said than done. I think it's a journey that we all have to go on. But I genuinely think that if we can be kinder to ourselves and say more positive things to ourselves than negative, we'd all just be a lot more confident and happy in ourselves.
For sure. We need to be our own best friends, right? That's what you need to do.
100%. Yeah, the relationship that you have with yourself is the hardest.
Yeah.
I mean, I was talking about allyship to you the other day, Jade, when we were talking about that, how important it is to be allies to each other. Given what has happened recently, is that taking on a whole new meaning to you as well?
Yeah, I think now more than ever, allyship is everything. You know, change doesn't happen unless you have allies. There are so many issues that are finally being talked about, and something is finally being done. I feel like now more than ever, allyship is key to change.
And it's all about using your voice, right, for the greater good. And you guys always do that. How has that changed as you've gone through your career, the power of your own voice and how you've used it?
I think we've always used our platform in positive ways, but I feel like more recently we've maybe gained more confidence in being able to speak up on issues, and I think that's one due to just growing up and maturing and having the confidence to do so. I think it's also being more educated enough to speak up about things. So I think there's also a bit of a fear when you have such a huge platform of doing and saying the right things all the time.
Oh my God, for sure. And throughout this whole thing, no matter what you guys have been through, you've always had each other, haven't you? And this amazing sisterhood. What has your career and the relationship you've had before taught you about the power of sisterhood?
It's everything. The power that we hold, like, as 4 women, I think is just so incredibly strong and just amazing. And yeah.
I think as well, it just goes to show that when there's more of you that stand for something, like change can happen, and like it does make people listen more. And so yeah, I'm proud of us for like what Jade said, like using our platform. We have got this huge platform, so if we didn't do anything with it and didn't speak about what we believe in and stand up for what we believe in, then I don't really feel like we'd be serving our purpose as a girl band.
What do you think each of you helped you through the most personally? There's been a time you've been like, you've leaned into that power of that sisterhood more. For each of you individually, what's that been like? Perry, what's that been like for you?
The best thing about us guys is like we're there for each other emotionally, and it's like we go through the ride together. Yeah, and I think when one of us is like kind of hurting, we kind of hurt with them. We're just there. We're like shoulders to cry on. We're agony aunts. We give each other advice. Like we have each other's backs. And it's like that constant support system of like having sisters there all the time. Yeah, and I think that's what I love about us. Like we always have each other's backs. So it's just important. I think the industry we're in and the things that happen, like we go through it together, and that's why it's like less daunting.
Yes.
And what's that been like for you, Jessie? What's the girl group helped you through the most?
We're a good energy to be around, and like when someone is feeling down, like we'll never ever leave them to like just be down. Like we always try and lift each other's spirits and make each other feel good. And like just in general, I just think as people, we always just try to make other people feel good and each other feel good, like with confidence. Whether if someone's feeling a bit, I know that if like I'm not feeling good in myself, now I'm like, shut up, your body's banging. Like we'll like lift each other up.
But do you know what it is? There's just so much pressure. There's so much pressure to act a certain way, look a certain way, say the right thing. And I think knowing that we have that sort of support for each other. When I was obviously during lockdown, like not seeing the girls, I felt like there was so much going on, and I felt like I was dealing with it all on my own because I wasn't with them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
As soon as like we're back together, it's us against the world. You know what I mean? Like, and it felt so weird being on my own because we've never had to do that before, so it was just strange.
And I think that's what's so special about you guys, because you are such a positive force for change and for good. But unfortunately, there's a lot of negativity that's still around. And 1 in 3 people still experience cyberbullying, which is crazy. And this is what Ditch the Label are talking about. I know, obviously, Jessie, you've spoken a lot about this and very passionately, openly about it. But how do you guys all deal with negativity now when you come up against it? Is it still a difficult thing, or is it definitely becomes easier, but does it still affect you, and how does it affect you?
I think, I mean, we're all human. Like, obviously, we're going to have days when certain things do affect us, but I definitely think we're a lot stronger now. Like, we've got a thicker skin. Like, I don't think things that would have bothered us back then would bother us now if we were to see them, because we just got thick skin. Like, it doesn't really bother us as much anymore. Which, yeah, and I kind of feel like we're immune to it now. We just feel like, whatever. But also, we're very confident in ourselves now. But, you know, we're all human. We're not robots. And sometimes certain things do affect us. But we're lucky in a group. And if we are down, we lift each other up.
Boom!
Yes!
Boom!
Nailed it!
Speaking of Ditch the Label, that concept in itself, do you feel like you personally have had to like let go of a certain label, or had a label thrust upon you that you've had to then be like, Astabayana, I need to fight against that and release that from me?
I feel like the term role model is lovely, but it's also quite
Terrifying?
Yeah, it's quite scary. I'm still a human, and I'm not going to get it right all the time. So please let me still learn. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It has put a bit of pressure on us over the years of, you know, having to be that, I think. When we are just 4 normal women who are just trying to live our lives, and if that's lovely and people look up to us, that's amazing. But at the same time, I feel like
Pressure.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
pressure.
Even like scrutiny of what we wear on stage. Like, if we wear a leotard on stage, like, we're wearing that to move and to feel comfortable.
And also, I feel
Yes,
that.
yes,
I'm wearing it
exactly.
because it makes me feel empowered. It makes me feel sexy.
But this is the problem. Like, why do we get scrutinized all the time? Literally dressing our age.
Dua Lipa, Rita Ora, there's
Yeah.
so many solo artists that wear leotards, and as soon as they wear them, they're never, like, it's just mad.
But is that because of who we are, like Little Mix, and like having a
don't
younger
know.
fan base? Like, is that why people look at us and think to do that? And we are women, and we want to embrace our bodies, and you know, like, nothing wrong with that.
I wonder why we get scrutinised all the time for what we wear. Like when we're on tour and we don't stop, like when we're on tour, it's constant, isn't it? Start to finish, we don't stop dancing, we don't stop jumping around, because our main goal for people coming to a Little Mix concert is we put on a show, like the whole shebang. We could easily dress in gowns, we could easily wear tracksuits from top to bottom, but that's not what we're about. Like, we're putting on a huge show. We want to be comfortable. So if you want to come to a Little Mix concert and see us fully clothed, we ain't gonna move. So you either have that or you don't. Does that make sense? But I think it just goes back to the point of being women. I think we just get scrutinized for everything.
Yes.
You breathe.
Yeah.
Scrutinized. So.
It's also just like, we need to stop as society judging people for what makes other people feel empowered. Like, if you feel empowered wearing a leotard, wear it. Like, why are you judging people for any of those kind of decisions?
Exactly.
I honestly believe, though, that when people are just negative towards you, it's a projection of how they actually feel about themselves.
Yeah, someone's judgment on you is really their insecurity talking.
Yeah, 100%.
Reflection on them, you know, how they're feeling.
It's only negative people that don't feel good in themselves, that are quite insecure, that project that on other people, because it makes them feel better.
And one thing I wanted to ask you guys, just to finish off, was if you could put the you on a Zoom call, it was just about to go into Little Mix, what would you want to say to them?
I would say prepare yourself for the wildest 9 years of your life.
Yeah.
I would say don't be so hard on yourself.
Yeah.
know that you're enough as you are. Yeah, don't doubt who you are, your abilities and what you're capable of doing. I would say that you're about to learn a lot about yourself, and that's a good thing. You know, everything's a lesson, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So enjoy the ride.
Well, thank you so much for joining me. I love you guys. Always spreading that kindness, always here for that positivity. So keep laying it, spreading the positive vibes, because we're all here for it. So
Yeah, thank you.
big love.